Huge welcome to everyone joining this webinar today. My name is Lucia Esteves. I'm Partnerships Coordinator at the FBA Football Business Academy, and I'll be moderating this special event. And the main reason why I say special is because you have joined the first FBA Women's Roundtable with 5 alumnas and a master candidate from different editions, brought together with the aim of sharing personal pathways and stories, testimonials coming from diverse cultural backgrounds and how they shape their own paths into the same industry and passion, which is football. Before introducing them, I want to thank the FBA, of course, for providing us this virtual stage and contributing to the visibility they deserve. I truly hope you enjoy it and find their stories as inspiring as I do. This being said, I would like to welcome my first guest. She's Raquel Madruga from Brazil, first edition alumna of the FBA, and currently working at Entourage Sport and Entertainment as Operation and Client Manager, Client Services Manager. Sorry, there you are. Pleasure to have you today, Raquel.
Pleasure is mine to be here, thank you.
Next one is Cátia Silva, 4th edition alumna. She's from Portugal, and she defines herself as a women's football advocate. Cátia co-founded Two Goals podcast with another FBA alumna, Maria Laura, with the aim to inspire future generations of women in leading roles, and is currently doing an internship in the social media department of NWSL. Hello, Cátia.
Hello, Lucia. Hello, everyone.
Moving on to Zarah Shah, 7th edition alumna. She was born in England with her heart divided between Ireland and Dubai, and she was also the valedictorian of her class. Zarah joined City Football Group some months ago as financial planning analyst. Welcome, Zarah.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My next guest just completed her master literally a couple of days ago on Saturday, so I'm super happy to have her among us. She's Paola Alvarado, 8th edition alumna right now, and also brain of this webinar. Pao is from Costa Rica and former professional football player and educator. She's devoted to developing women's football in her own country as team member of FIFA's local organizing committee for this year's Under-20 World Cup at Costa Rica. Hello, Pao.
Hi, everyone.
And last but definitely not least, we have Gina Stein from Germany. She's one of the FBA's 9th edition master candidates. And just a week ago, she started her mandatory internship at the new business department of football club Bayern Munich. Welcome, Gina.
Hey.
Wow. I mean, what a number. Look at you. This is amazing. Thank you, ladies, for being here with me today. One of the richness of this gathering is bringing together women like you with diverse nature in terms of, like I said, cultural background, areas of studies, now on different moments of your career, but also different professional interests and ambitions. But two main things in common, and I'm sure we're gonna find even more on the next minutes and hour. These are football and the FBA. As I told you before, individually, this is about you. This is about other women like you out there. So the stage is yours. To break the ice a little bit, I really want to start congratulating, of course, Pao Alvarado for her recent graduation, and also because I don't know if you're aware of it, but her team was elected best student business project for our partner NWSL. So, well, great achievement so far.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night for around the world. I'm very happy to be here, and also to be a family of the FBA, and also to be a woman and in this industry, and very, very happy to this webinar happen. Not just because I said we are a family. It's just to enjoy more, to keep this for more girls to be involved in this industry that I know that we are here and we fight every day. And I know like if someone watch us to talk about our passion, more girls are going to jump to this path. So thank you so much, and very happy to know everyone. And again, I always said it's always a good time to talk about football. So let's go and talk about football.
Totally. So as I previously said, you've been in football first as a player, then as an educator, and now as a football business professional, let's say. So from these three perspectives of the game, but about the business as well, has your feeling and your conception about football somehow evolved over the years?
Yeah, the first thing that I want to say is like, as a passionate of football, the only thing that I want to say like is my passion is more and more bigger, right? As a former player, I was in a different perspective that it was very hard for us because it wasn't a professional time. It was like our beginning in Costa Rica, and the beginning for also how we can fight versus United States, Mexico, Canada, that they are very strong. And now, and then I had the bad situation that after the World Cup that I play, I have to retire for many reasons. And then I was like, I don't want to know anything about football because I cannot play. So what I have to do, it's no watch football, don't see football and anything. And then I discovered my passion, my other passion that was be a educator. But again, football was in my life. I be a coach. I started watching the girls watching me, not just like a teacher. It was also like, oh, you play football. I want to be like you. And I was like, what I can do to push these girls to do the same that I did, and what they can do better than I did. So that was the reason that now I can say that I'm a master in football, and now like a manager or like a person who can build things for them that gonna help more. And be now working with the World Cup under 20 in my country, it's like another return. Like 10 years ago I was playing, and now I'm gonna be the person who is gonna run with these girls. So I feel very, very proud to be, again, that I said, a woman, and also be a Costa Rican girl in the industry.
Yeah, a revancha, as we would say
Yes,
in Spanish, right?
The revenge, yes.
Yeah, so being not just a woman, but also Latin American, as you said, sounds like a double challenge for me, right? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I didn't know like be Latin American was like a challenge when I jumped to Europe, right? And when I jumped to United States, because we don't have the opportunity to have the visa for work, right? And also we are not professional for them, right? So my only reason to fight more, it was, okay, yes, I'm a girl, I'm Latin American, but also I'm good. So I have to fight, and I have to motivate, and I have to fight for people can watch us like a good professionals. And I think doing these meetings or doing this webinars or connections around the world, we can show us what we are doing in different countries and how we can help them and how people can help us to grow. And always I said, you have to start with you and then with others. So I decided to start working on me and what skills I need to help people. And again, return to my country and give all the things that they give it to me 10 years ago. So that is the reason that I'm very proud. And I have a lot of opportunities to work outside my country, but I said, I think the good beginning is to start here in Costa Rica.
Raquel, maybe as a Brazilian, is there like, do you feel related to what Paola is saying somehow?
Yes and no. But being in America, yes. The main reason why I came to FBA in the first place was because I was sponsored, but I didn't get in the lottery, so I needed a plan B. And my plan B was not stay in Brazil and go back to Brazil. Like Paola, she wants to go back to her country. I just didn't want to do that. But then at the same time, I do have an Italian passport. So for me, being here in Europe, the culture is different. How us Latin Americans we work and how Europeans work, even Americans or whoever it is. I think we're more. It's different. I think we work more sporadically. It's not just like a 9 to 5 kind of thing. So you do see a little bit. We work from 8 to 10 p.m. if it allows. It's just it's different. But in that sense, I didn't. I'm lucky that I have a lot of Brazilians working here with me. So in this sense, like I didn't feel that much of a difference.
Actually, you're a legend because you're the first FBA alumna, actually, first edition. So do you remember like the whole process? How did you find the FBA and everything since the idea came up to you?
To be honest, like I was saying, how I just desperately just needed a plan B. So I kept Googling Google. And so I just found many options. And I spoke to Dorian, and it was a process, right? It was him trying to convince me to sign up first and all that, and then to go through the interviews with a couple of professors. But it was him who convinced me in the first place because he knows how to sell. He just believed in the FBA so much, and I mean, rightly so, because I don't know how many years later we're still here and we see everyone here. But yeah, he convinced me, and he worked close to me the whole time, the whole process, and it was quite nice to be the only woman in the group. To be fair, because I'm used to that. Well, since I grew up, it was just like I was the girl who liked football, so I was the girl who's talking football with the guys, and I don't mind it at all. I actually prefer it.
Well, that's great to hear, actually, because it was not a barrier for you.
No, it wasn't. So for me, it was it was fine. And yeah, so it was the process. We had some interviews. I don't know how the process is now if it's the same or not, but I did go through some interviews with a couple of people from the FBA and a couple of the professors, and yeah, it was just like specific. They wanted to know, the knowledge I had about football, and not just like the actual game, but just what was going on in the world of football, women's football, or just in financial side of it, or anything. Like obviously, it's always good to know what's the current events in football. Yeah. But yeah,
for sure. Zarah, I can imagine that your way into the football industry wasn't easy for you as well, let's say, because you were almost like completely headed to the finance world, even with a master degree, right, on that field. And you dared to actually stop the ball and say, hey, I like finance, but I like football even more. That was a brave move.
So I've actually done a lot of different things, not just finance. My original master's and degree was in commerce in German, and then I did it in accounting of finance, or a master's in accounting. And I was supposed to go down that road doing tax for KPMG. And then I took a year out because my grandmother wasn't well. And so I moved so that was in Ireland, and I moved to Dubai for that. And then I just never went back into, that kind of accountancy world. I did a few different things in Dubai where I was in hospitality, I did operations, I was in cricket, I was in Bollywood as well for a brief stint doing some acting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that I dabbled in. But since I was a kid, like football has always been my passion. Like I just couldn't escape it. Like I just didn't understand. So when I was in school, going into college, trying to choose what I wanted to do, I loved numbers. But then I also wanted to do something with football. Like I knew that I wasn't going to make it as a player, but I didn't understand how I could get into, working in the industry, especially being a girl. So I saw sports management degrees, but I just didn't really know what I could do afterwards with that. So yeah, I just went down the safe road and did accounting. But yeah, it just always kind of kept coming back to me, like, I need to get in, I need to do something. And now, like, 10 years later, there's definitely a lot more progression that's happened since I was in college. And, women have a lot more of a kind of a footprint and, presence within the industry. So I got really settled and comfortable in Dubai. I mean, if I was going to live anywhere in the world still to this day, I would choose Dubai, and people are calling me crazy for leaving because I live in Manchester now. But it was just this itch and something that I've had that I've just never been able to, shake off, where I just wanted to work in football, and just that's my dream, and it's always been there. And so then I finally kind of was just like, what am I doing with my life? Just before COVID. And actually COVID helped me to kind of come to terms with that. I was like, I don't know why I'm still here. Why am I just wasting my time? Yeah, I'm having a great time. I have, a great lifestyle in Dubai. I've got good money, blah, blah, blah. But there was just something within me that wasn't truly happy. So I decided to just go and look out for my way in. And I was looking at different master's options for sports management, and then came across the FBA, which was specifically for football. And yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And so then my journey kind of began from there.
So if you had to identify that concrete situation or moment or wake up call when you said,
yeah,
I'm doing this.
It was a mixture of a couple of things. So I had just been a casualty of, one of the contracts that my company worked with. They lost that. So I was, managing the operations in a sports facility at the time, and just lost my job. And then decided to go home. So this was in Dubai. I came to Ireland and I came to England to watch a few games, as I always try and do every year, get to Anfield. And then I was just like, why am I not doing this? This is where I want to be. And then I went back to Dubai, and then literally COVID just hit. And I was like, okay, why don't I just do that then? Why am I just waiting around doing stuff that I hate? Well, I don't hate, but I don't love. So yeah, I was just got really determined to be like, okay, that's it. I've always known before that I was going to make it and do something, but I never actually acted upon it. So I just kind of, especially with lockdown and in Dubai, which was super intense, we weren't even allowed outside the house. So it kind of stopped having all of these excuses and stuff, and just made me just focus and be like, okay, Zarah, sort yourself out now and just chase what you want.
And how has the family factor, let's say, impacted on your decision, if there was one?
Well, it was actually really tough for me when I was a kid, because I was the first one in my family to actually like football. Being the eldest in the house, my dad was into cricket. He's from Pakistan. My mom is from Liverpool, but there was never a football kind of, that wasn't a sport at home. Cricket was a sport for my dad. And then when I tried to play, I was always the only girl in the teams in school, and then primary and secondary school, and dad didn't want me to play. He's like, why don't you choose a girls' sport, something like tennis? So I had to pretend and say I was going to after school studies. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching. And pretend that I was going to after school studies, and then I just kept going and going from that. But I think now, after 15 years or so, he's kind of finally accepted that, it's not just a phase, and I'm here, and I'm in, like, this is what I want to do. So through the FBA, my family have actually been super supportive, and, financially, helped me along the way as well, because obviously I have to, it's not a cheap exercise to go and chase a master's. So, they were all there supporting me. They've been there every step of the way. So it's been really nice that could, be, that perception could be switched even within my own household, that women can do something within it, and it's not just a fad.
Twice brave, right? So yeah. if you look back, I don't know, would you have make anything different, or you think it was just a natural course?
Well, I wish I didn't waste as much time, and I wish I chased it earlier and believed it. Well, I believed in myself. I just allowed other things to get in the way, and I did allow naysayers to kind of, deter me a bit. But I'm back now on track, and I guess this is the way it was meant to be. So probably wouldn't change it I mean, I'd say I would change stuff, but everybody would say that, right? It's happening now and it's happening for a reason, and I'm just trusting the process. So
totally. And perhaps for someone that does not know you well, he may think like super like simple equation. She's valedictorian of her class. She got a job at the company of her dreams, like super simple, and perhaps losing sight of all the sacrifice, all the effort, and of course the talent that you naturally have. But we shouldn't like give that for granted, you know, like.
Yeah, thanks. Well, yeah, that was when I did decide that I wanted to go down chasing the dream. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to rec for the women as well. And I had a mission to prove it to myself and to do it for the ladies as well. Like I was one of 3 within the actual 7th edition of the FBA. And, you know, before I even signed up to it, I said, I want to be the best in the class, which, you know, it's a very American term, valedictorian. I don't know what we call it in Ireland. We just say the top of the class. But that's what I aimed for. And then I knew that I'd have to get a job on the side to support it, which actually was one of the great things about the FBA, that I could work at the same time as, you know, the classes, because they were all online. So I took up a finance job full time, and then did the course at the same time full time, and had extra, because I was studying for finance exams as well then, because I was working as a financial advisor. So I had to do my job, I had to study for the finance exams, and I had to, you know, do my best to be the top of the class for the FBA too. So then I just chased that, managed to somehow pull it off in Lisbon. And then after that, set a target for myself to have a job by the end of the year. And, you know, pinpointed different kind of, I had 3 top clubs or areas that I wanted to work in. So one was the area for women's strategy around, you know, Europe. And then another was working for Liverpool, which is obviously my team and a team that I've supported since I ever knew football. And then it was City Football Group, which is the biggest footballing group in the world. So, you know, if I can't work for Liverpool, I'd work for them to understand and get the most knowledge possible, because one day I want to be CEO of a club. So that's the aim. And somehow, yeah, it's all been, all the struggle and sacrifice has actually just been working out somehow. I was looking very bleak at the end of the year. I was like, oh, it's not happening. But yeah, I went and did a football just leadership course with women in football, who actually were very, very instrumental in a lot of this and how it's happened for me too. I was invited to do their leadership course back in December, and that was on at the Etihad, and I was in Dubai at the time. And so I was just like, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't go, it's going to be expensive, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I thought that it would be a great way to just put myself out there and make opportunities for myself. So I decided to go, booked a little week's trip, went to it, and then ended up actually meeting some of the people who I asked to put my CV forward, and then ended up getting the job after a gruesome kind of interview process. But yeah, so it's all just kind of about doing what you want and chasing that, like making it happen for yourself, because it's not going to get handed to you on a plate. You know, I mean, I'm sure that it did stand to me, the fact that I did the masters and the fact that I was valedictorian, etc. But if I wasn't at that stadium at that time, you know, making things happen for myself and putting myself out there, I don't think I would be, you know, sat in Manchester right now today, for example, at the place where I wanted to be.
Totally. That's a great message to give.
Thanks.
So, Gina, you're actually in the middle of the master in football business. That can arouse the envy of some here present, I believe. So perhaps you can bring us like your fresh perspective on this topic regarding, you know, like the program research process and how what was like, in your opinion, this factor that made you say like the FBA master program is for me?
So already when I was doing my bachelor's, I was actually looking into studying football or something sports related. But back then I wasn't 100% sure that I want to work in football because I've never experienced it. So I always wanted to do it, but I was like not 100% convinced that it's like my future. So I just wanted to have like some backup. So I started studying international business first. And then for my master's, I was planning on going more towards like the football or sports direction. However, again, I wanted to have like a backup plan. So I first did a master's in global business and sustainability. And then I already kind of knew when I did that master's that I want to do the FBA afterwards, because I don't know, I came across it, I think, online at some point, and it really combined everything that I would like to do. So it's specific to football and not just any sports. And also it's very practical, like it's very real life oriented. So I really like the up-to-date and topical classes that they offer. And then also the whole family aspect, like the networking, and also just the community feeling that the FBA represents. And then obviously also their internship part is a really big part that also made me in the end decide to apply for the FBA.
Just out of curiosity, did you reach out to other FBA alumnus, like for recommendations or feedback?
Yeah, I actually did. I also asked some previous alumni from the FBA about their experience recommendation, because I mean, it is a big step to sign up for the masters or to apply. So I also wanted to just get some feedback on how everything went, and also how the community actually acts in the end, and if the professors are like a good fit, and if the classes are relevant and everything. So yeah, I also informed myself and I received a lot of good feedback. So in the end, I decided to apply.
I strongly believe that Cátia would have loved to help you out on that, right? Cátia, you consider yourself a women's football advocate. So, like, was it something that you were always like into, or is something you developed over the years, you know, because of what we talk about women's football and women in football, that it's not just a word in like difference or detail, it's even more than that, right?
Yeah, actually my answer is no. People think it's yes, but it's no. And actually something that I want to spread out, that believe it, if you start now loving it, it's not a matter of fact that, oh, I didn't know it before, I will never reach it. No, you just need to study, to be into it, to understand what is the perspective, what was the past, what is the present, what will be the future, and you can work on it. Just be yourself and understand what you're doing. And that's the difference. Now we are here, we are all women in football. That doesn't matter, and that is not the case of we work in women's football. Some of us we work in women's football, some of us not, which is completely normal. And it's something, I think this what you said and what is over there is the stereotype that is comes from a cultural and social barrier, that, oh, if you like football, if you're a woman, you like women's football. This socially, probably in Portugal is like that, probably in South America as well, as I know a bit of the culture. And it's like a box. You're inside of a box, and we are here today to say it's not a box and we are outside of it. It's just that. But yeah, and just regarding that, I actually fell in love with women's football at the FBA. It seems like a fairy tale. It's not for a fairy tale. It's not for the webinar, but it is like that. And rewinding a bit what everybody said here, I was always a football fan, but I was not in this industry because I never believed that I could work in football. I never heard about women's football, and I have to say this: I never heard about women's football where I live and where I live now, because I went outside abroad and now I'm back to the roots. But because of the cultural and social barriers, we didn't have visibility, and we still don't have, but we need more. And yeah, I went to another way with literature and culture, Portuguese, only Portuguese. I went outside, I went abroad to Switzerland, working in hospitality, so a different perspective. And I worked in the hospitality only to earn money to watch football matches. I was with a disease, you know, a club disease, I have to say. And actually the FBA cured it, which is amazing, because now I'm not so fanatic as I was. and I went to the FBA because I pursued my dream. One day I woke up and I looked at my phone. I opened Instagram and I saw a sponsored post, and it was like that. And actually, I enrolled in the FBA. I didn't re-enroll, of course, immediately. I talked with Dorian as well, as Raquel said, and after it, like 1 month after, I was still working on my job while at classes, and I quit and entered. I gave everything that I had to follow a dream. And during the process, when we had women's football classes, I'm fortunate because it was at the same time as the Women's World Cup in 2019, and I think the fever, it was both things together. And it was the time that I said, I want women's football. I want to build this because it's something that we need to build. We need to think, we need to be all together in it. The product is there. We just need to work on it. And it was through that. And after it, all my pathway at the FBA, and after it was always through women's football, because of exactly that moment of entering the FBA. And in the middle of it, I faced the women's football classes as well as the FIFA Women's World Cup, and it was all of it.
Wow. So how do you feel the FBA contributed to shaping the professional you are today?
I mean, everything, because everything that I did until today, it was because of that. I can give one example of the podcast. I have to say as well here, we talked about the pandemic. We need to talk about it because I'm a daughter of the pandemic. My edition, we are the sons of and the daughters of the pandemic, because we finished the degree and 1 week after, the pandemic began. So everything started. We were aiming to network, to start sending CVs, etc., and everything shut down. We were like, what we will do now? For myself, and in this case, I will talk about the podcast I co-created with Maria Laura. We were not in this industry before, so we needed to step up, and we only had one thing. It was a computer, and we entered the digital era, and we started a podcast because we met at the FBA. We talked to each other and we said, we don't know many women out there working in this industry. Let's create a platform where we can know them, understand what they do, because it's something that sometimes we don't know which area we will go with football, or even inside women's football or men's football, it doesn't matter. And we started, okay, let's see what they are doing. Let's understand what they are doing now. And it was because of that. And this started at the FBA, but this idea was born at the women in football leadership course. As Zarah said, everything is connected. When I was doing my internship, and I was like in the middle of a room with a lot of women, English women, and I didn't know anyone over there, and I was in shock. I was like, how can this happen? I know who is the guy that is doing marketing at my club or at the other club, but I don't know that this woman works at Arsenal, Liverpool, at the same position. Why? And we are not the ones to know everybody, but we need to understand that. And these roles, this was one of the things that we needed to portray, and that's why the idea was born, created half year later, in the middle of a pandemic with another FBA alumna. And this is only one of a lot of things that I did and I accomplished because of the FBA.
And are you happy with the results so far?
I have to say yes. No, I'm kidding. Yes, of course, yes. I mean, I have to say this as well. As you mentioned in the beginning, I'm doing an internship at the NWSL. The ones who know women's football they know it's the best league in the world, the most developed, the professional league. Because a lot of leagues in the majority of leagues in women's football, they are not professional. Working in a major professional women's league football, it's the best thing that you can achieve and you can have. And I need to be happy. I have to be happy because of that, of course. But we need as well to have the perception there's a long way to go, and we need to work even more and harder to achieve even more things.
Paul, perhaps do you want to jump in with the LATAM experience on that?
I want to jump in everything that they said.
Feel
I'm like,
free,
wow.
feel free.
I'm kidding. No, that I just want to return with the it's not just women's in women's football. It's also women's in football. It's not matter about like if you work with boys or with girls, or it just work in the industry, and it's motivate everyone to be in this industry. I love women football just because I'm a former player, but I have to say I always happy to work with my federation in some of the games that I was in the past and see the people that I thought that I never gonna met them, and now I'm working with them, right? So that it's something good. And also we have a joke with my classmates that I always present myself like, hi, I'm Paola, I'm from Costa Rica, because I'm very proud of that. And I always said, and I love women's football. The only thing that I do that is because some people like Cátia jump in football in the master just because they love football, but never thought like also women's football, it's something different. It's another world. So I already love football, men's football. And I was like, okay, how I can invite them to know about the new business. So this is a joke, but at the end, it's something that we can change something in our position. Just to remember people that football is more than 22 people running on the pitch, right? That was the thing that I thought 10 years ago, right? And now I can know that I can change also the game in different positions. So, and here is Zarah that have the possibility to follow her dreams. That is the reason that we are here, to invite people to say, we are here, we can change. And here Raquel, like, yes, I'm not in the country, but I'm in another country working on football. It's also motivate for me that maybe in 10 years or 5 years, I already finished my goal in Costa Rica, and I have the opportunity to do that because more girls are open the path for us. And I'm not gonna forget that when I met Gina in Spain, I think, right? And I was like,
Football Summit. Yeah.
You are a girl, you are in women's football. And I was like, I'm alone here because Mariana wasn't there yet. And I was like, I'm so happy. And 6 girls are, or I don't know if I'm good with the numbers, are in the class right now. I was like, we are doing something, and we didn't know that, right? And I told this story, and I think women's in football have similar story. It's like we have to quit our jobs, we have to sell everything, we have to do a lot of things to follow our dreams. And I think that it's something that it's different for women, that when we want something, we fight very hard, and we invite people to help us to follow our dreams. So I have to say that when I hear Cátia's podcast, I was like, this is interesting. I want to do something similar, but I say like, no, why I have to fight with my colleagues? So I open a podcast for CONCACAF because nobody know about CONCACAF in Europe, right? So do something different. They don't know that they motivate me, and I didn't know that I motivate more people over there. See Raquel in the first picture and say like, I want to be her, and now be around here. For me, it's that I always say to Lucia, I already can say check that I'm changing the world in different ways, right? And we have to be very proud about that.
So I have a question from our social media, the question box on Instagram, that I think it's right for this moment, and I will drop it onto you. That is, where to begin to transform the football industry into a more equal one? I think we, like, personally speaking, I think we should rephrase it a little bit, because I think we already begun. But what's your thoughts on that, Pao?
First, believe in yourself. Change your head that and say it as always I said, you can do it, believe in the process, and start doing something different. And Cátia says something that I always say is like, be outside the box. And you the things that you really wanted. Be creative, be innovative, and don't be scared that what people are going to say. At the end, if you are prepared, the results is going to be good. So see examples around the world. I see now that people is doing things, girls are doing things, my professors are doing things, and you can be that person. So it just don't be fair that don't be scary. I think don't be scary to jump outside the box, and if you believe in yourself and if you prepare, because if no matter the gender is, if you prepare, you can do whatever you want. And I think it's something interesting that I'm learning in the FBA. I'm another person. 1 year ago, I know that I was a good professional, but here for David Goblet, like, you are Paola. I never thought that you roll like in that way. And I think it was because I see a lot of girls and a lot of women's fighting for the same things that I really wanted. So it's believe in yourself.
Zarah, Gina, I think you might also have some insights from a club's perspective, right?
Yeah, I was actually gonna. Oh, sorry, Gina.
Sorry.
Yeah. So like, just definitely, it's all about trying to get people involved and be inclusive, and you as a woman go get involved yourself. Like, I mean, me in the just now in City Football Group, like I've reached out to the person who is handling the equality, diversity and inclusion strategy for Manchester City. And, because I'm obviously interested in that myself, being a woman with a diverse background. But like, even just, so like I just said, if you need any help or, let me know what kind of programs you're working on so that I can get involved, or I can spread the word, or I can literally, come and help out physically, anything. So it's just doing things like that to try and get involved so that women can get, more of a kind of a platform, or, awareness is raised. And, it's going to definitely take time. But, once you get to those people who are doing it, in positions of more power or more kind of a reach, it's going to happen a lot faster. And it's all about, so it's not just on the women to do it. It's also on the, male, species to help out and do that, and, champion that, and to be the allies for the women to do so. And, the Women in Football organization that I speak so highly of, I'm very passionate about them, because they're definitely doing things to make it happen, to raise awareness. They've got a campaign called Get On Side, where they've gotten pledges from different clubs or different organizations or whoever, wants to get involved, by saying, okay, I pledge to give 3 people my coaching services for a year, out of their own time. You can be a single person doing that, or you can be a company or a club, or, BBC or Sky Sports or whoever, you can put on ads for free or give some free advertising. There was an Arnold Clark Cup that was just on, where Women in Football were the title sponsors for that, and they gave them that awareness to do that. So it's just about making little things happen in little ways, and to promote awareness, and do whatever you can to just get involved. So I think that's a huge part that's definitely going to help spread it, and be on that road to progression towards more gender equality in sports. Sorry, Gina, go.
Sorry,
I understood my name before. No, it's fine. You can go ahead, Raquel.
Go on, Gina, because I know she called you, so I'll go after you.
No, also what I just wanted to say is it's really important for us to also just speak up, because a lot of our male colleagues, they don't even know what we go through, and they're really biased a lot of times, so they don't really understand what it's like for women to work in that field, and for women's football to get where they want to go. So like that's also something that I can just tell everyone, like speak up, tell your colleagues if you feel like you've been treated differently or whatsoever, and just be open about it and explain it in like in a human way. Everyone will understand, but just speaking up helps already a lot.
Cool. Raquel, go ahead.
What I was going to say is also do not be afraid to kind of take a step down whenever you want to get into this industry, because it's not just this industry. I think it's just anywhere. But for example, anyone coming from another country and they're, I don't know, from Latin America, and you want to go to Europe, and the person's already with this mindset like, oh, I want to be the head of whatever. That's not how it works. Because first of all, if you've never worked in this industry, it's very hard for you to go from here to here. So a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm going to have to start down here again. That's like 3 steps down from what I was doing before. Well, that's not something that, it's not a bad thing, because you learn from the bottom and you go up. As I was telling Lucia about me, the reason why I'm here today, I accepted a job to be an executive assistant. And for me, it was just like, you know what, it's an opportunity. A sports agency, a place that I never thought I was gonna be working for, because that was the last thing in my mind. It never even crossed my mind to be representing players or to be reading contracts and doing all this. I was like, I don't know, but whatever, let's do it. I picked up my stuff in 3 days. I was in London. And I've been here for 3 years and a half, and now I just take care of all the clients in the company. It's just something that I grew. I started working with my boss, just being his assistant, but he taught me so much. And I started seeing like, hang on, I actually like reading these contracts. I am good with the clients and with the players, and I'm good at this. And next thing I know, I just completely shifted being an assistant to what I am now. So it's completely fine. And again, as I said, it's not just in this industry, the football industry, anywhere that you're going to go, especially if you're changing countries, if you're changing continents, even, like the culture is different, and you have to accept it. A lot of the times you need to take a step down, and it's completely fine to take a step down and redo, because it's part of life, and that's how you're going to grow in that specific bubble and the specific area that you want to work into. So
yeah, I just wanted to say on that as well, I 100% agree, because I mean, I've done a lot of different things and, gotten to different levels within those different industries. And, me moving to Manchester, 100%, out of my comfort zone, but I've come to a position that's basically starting from the bottom again. But that's a sacrifice that I knew from the get-go and was, well prepared to make, because I knew this is the road that I want to go down. It's fine. I'm starting my career a bit later than I would have liked, because I've already done this and that. But, I'm having a complete career change, and because I want to do something that I'm passionate about and something that makes me want to get up in the morning later on, So you have to definitely not be afraid to take that leap if it's something that you're interested in.
Yeah, and actually, I think you never stop learning and rediscovering yourself in different roles, and I don't know, interested in different topics at different stages of your own professional life. But yeah, the sporting environments, I think they're great ones in order to build community and to start, discovering and networking and doing your own way into the industry. So going back to this to the podcast project, I'm super curious about, because in terms of visibility and like I said, community building, you have both, Cátia and Paola, embarked on this communication project platform. What were, if you identify, of course, what was the most challenging part of it, let's say, and what did you or do you actually appreciate more about it? Perhaps we can start with Cátia,
Yes, of course. I'm older than Paola. No, but it's a challenging project. It's a challenging platform. But I said in the beginning, me and my colleague Maria, we had to do something at that time. And actually, this is, if I can give an advice to someone, if you want to step up in this industry, if you don't have, or you don't know how to start, you have a lot of tools for yourself. You have a computer, you don't need a microphone, you can buy one, but you don't need one, but just start doing, because what we did was creating a platform. And I always joke with our guests that we are being selfish, because we are learning a lot. We are learning more than what we are giving to the people, because every person that we know, men or women, because we have men as well, we are learning from each one of them, and they are from different parts of the country. So this is actually a very good thing. And one of the things that for us it was really good, as I will relate this with what Paola said. What Paola said 1 year ago, for me was 2 years ago. What I was 2 years ago, I'm not the same now. I was never able to speak here. I'm not speaking very well, but I was never able to speak in English here. Now I'm able to do this because we started a podcast. We needed to get out of our comfort zone. We needed to learn and interview people that are fluent in English or not, and we had to do it with a flow and with no cuts, etc., etc. So this was one of our not problems, but our barriers. But at the same time, this is one of the platforms that until now, having first at the 5th episode or 6th episode, FIFA saying this is one of the best podcasts of women's football, and we will recommend it. This happened for us, like in 5th episode, 6th episode, we said, okay, let's close the door. We did it. Let's go. I'm kidding, but this happened. And for us, starting in this industry was like, whoa, if we had doubts on starting on something, this is a signal to say, keep it going. You're in the middle of a pandemic. You cannot go out there to network with people or to meet people, or even if you send CVs, people don't even open the emails. Just keep it going, because it will lead you to somewhere. This was what we did. Me in Europe, again, this is another thing. And Pao, I think she's at the same position. I was in Europe. Maria was in South America and Colombia, and we did it. We're still doing it. And actually, one of the things that now is happening is that people are saying, oh, you should interview this woman, and you should interview this woman. And now our network is going on and on and on without us asking anything. We just need to prepare something. And again, when we are preparing an interview, something that we were not trained for, we are doing an exercise that will be helpful for us later on, and just heading to the question of the social media, and this is connected. Even if you, and what Raquel said as well, it doesn't matter where you start. If you want to achieve something, you need to work in every step. And just let me say this, because a lot of people ask me about the FBA and they are not even in this industry, as I was not in. Every time you're a fan, every time you go to a football match, just pay attention at everything that happens around you. Just pay attention on the match day experience. Just pay attention on every news that are out there, even if it is fake news. Just understand why it's fake. Like, just understand everything in your environment, because this will be very helpful every step that you take to the future. And if you can create a platform just yourself or with a person, you can do it, showing your face or not. We don't show our face. I know Pao shows her face. We don't want to scare people, Maria, that's why. But you can do it in whichever platform you want. It's up to you, and everything, it's up to you to do something.
Yeah, well, yes, I put my face. Sometimes it's hard. But yes, some of the barriers that I had is the language. Like, I'm talking right now in English as well, like Cátia says. 2 years ago, I had zero English in my life, zero. I can say now I don't know how I'm doing this. And I think it was the FBA understand the different language for my classmates, because they are like 32, I don't know, different cultures. So also the only follows, or the only people who wants to hear my podcast don't know anything about English. It was my mom, my dad, and my sister. So I was like, as Raquel said, don't be worried. Like, I didn't know that I have someone who's gonna hear my podcast in, I don't know, in Europe or in Jamaica, I don't know. And I was just jump and talk about English and say my mom and dad, Mom, put it. I know that you're not gonna understand, but it's gonna reproduce. And now again, as well, Cátia says, we interview a lot of people, very important, like the CEO for Portland, the CEO for the head youth tournaments, Roberto Grassi, and then I have the opportunity to interview Marelis, that I know Cátia interviewed here, because it's like an amazing door from Mexico that opens the door for everyone. And 1 month later, she was here in Costa Rica, and we were talking like we were friends, right? And then this started going, and then we have to stop because we were doing the fourth model, but we're gonna have our second time to do it. But I think it's that this podcast it was never to search money, right? It was just because passion, and how I can tell the world I'm good in the things that I do, right? That I'm good in the business football, because I read a lot and all the stuff, but how people can know me. And that was the reason that we made this. And as well, it's a gringo and a tica talking about football. No matter we are young, we are talking about boring football, but we have to be creative to sell our product. So everything that you're gonna do is a challenge, but you have to start with 1 fan or 2 or 3 or whatever, but you have to start.
Or only to yourself. Just start.
Yes, just start, and then it's correct to say like, this is not good. Okay, we have to stop, and we have to change something, or we have to do something different, or this is good, keep doing, or it's better than close everything and do another project. It's okay, and it's okay fail, but you have to start.
Great thought. Thank you for sharing that. We have a question from our social media that I would like to bring in. Which confederation, in your experience or opinion, has done the best job to promote the women's game worldwide? Who would like to start?
I think Raquel have to start because she's in the first edition. No, I'm kidding.
Go. If you want.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't follow, like we were saying, I don't follow women's football.
Yeah.
I know England is big. I think France is big too, aren't they?
They're on the way.
US, America, huge. But yeah, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not in the women's side.
I can go, no problem. If you're talking about confederation or federation?
Yeah. The question was about confederation, but we can switch it to federation.
Federation
Okay.
would be tricky. So I think we need to look. I mean, I'm in the bad position as I'm from Europe and I'm working for the NWSL, so I need to measure the things. But two different ways, I would say. At the CONCACAF, it's difficult as well. You have USA and you have the other countries that are the majority, they are not professional, and this is the major thing that we need to say here. A lot of the countries are not professional. Even the national teams, they are not 100% professional, and we need to state this, and this changes the whole perspective. And just rewind everything that we were talking about, women's football and men's football, and what Raquel said now, it's the same game, it's a different product. I may like the game, but I maybe I don't like this product and I prefer this one. We need to go in these different ways. And in these products, inside of them, we need to understand what is there. About the confederations, of course, CONCACAF, there's a great way to go. There's one great thing. You have US soccer over there that now with a lot of problems as well, and we know that, but the players are reaching something, and the other countries can look up to them and say, okay, we can reach that. But I would say something that is very important to mention, for example, and I need to say this, UEFA launched their first ever women's football strategy only in 2019. 2 years ago, with a pandemic in the middle. So this is just to say we are just starting. There's a lot to go. We are still setting the foot up there. So, but I think UEFA is pushing up further, and we will, for me, is my opinion, we will see this product, how it is on this summer, on the Euros in England. We will see the product is, that this is. And overall, for me, the year of the consolidation of the women's football will be next year, 2023. We will see the product being consolidated over there. But for that, I will say that the push that the UEFA will give this year on these Euros, I hope they do it well. I just hope that, because I'm betting everything, that we will see like the consolidation of the things in Europe. And I hope as well that the other confederations look up to this and say, we have a long way to go. It is a product that tomorrow will not be the best one. We will need 10 years to build this, but in 10 years, we can actually have something. And if we can follow someone, I would say a confederation, UEFA. And just to add with Raquel, England is very well. I would say to look up to the FA as well. I'm with you. I'm in your team as well in this case.
I know a thing or two.
Yeah.
I want to jump over there that I can say like CONCACAF as Canada and Mexico, Canada and United States and Mexico. Costa Rica is working hard with hosting the World Cup and all the stuff. But I think CONCACAF, it's now with more pressure because UEFA is doing amazing. So that is the reason the women's football and CONCACAF decide to change the different ways to play, how more games and all this stuff. So I can say UEFA number one for the last 2 years. I think France, the World Cup in France changed the perspective in Europe. And so yes, UEFA, my first position, CONCACAF, just because they are doing something different. And I'm gonna put in the table Spain. I think Spain with the federation are doing very good, because Spain had like a lot of time with football, but I think they decide like, okay, England is doing good, France is doing good. What happened with us? So the way that now you can see Barcelona having an amazing team and all the stuff, and the federation it's helping with professional these things. So 100% UEFA, England, Spain, and CONCACAF, they are trying to get better.
Just throwing CONMEBOL in there too. It's not. I don't think they're in the discussion of who's dealing the best with women's football. But as a Brazilian, I can see that now women's football is kind of coming together in Brazil, at least. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, CONMEBOL just made this thing like the teams that they can't participate in like Copa Libertadores and all that stuff if they don't have a women's team. So, I mean, I don't know what exactly that entails, because one thing is just like throwing a bunch of women and be like, here you go, you have a place to practice in, here's a ball and a goal. Or if they're actually going to monitor to see if they're actually going to support the teams and give enough money, give enough, support equipment and all that stuff. But I know that at least something is being done, and it's not even close to UEFA, to CONCACAF and other places, but it's still something just compared to what I used to see in the past, which was absolutely nothing. So
yeah, and I think the same for Asia as well, is a bit mixed all over, because obviously I was living in Dubai and I've been there for a good few years, like, within the football scene. And, they are getting a bit more investment and, taking it on as a kind of a governmental national level, like to put funds into them in the UAE and, into the women's side. And they are actually making a good kind of a push and effort on that now, not just in women's, but in football in general. But I mean, then you have the likes of Pakistan, who just got banned by FIFA. So it's a bit all over the place in Asia. So I think they're obviously a lot behind, if you count it as the whole kind of AFC.
And
can I
go ahead.
One more thing? I know we're out of time. Just to add what Raquel said. Actually, I agree. I just said about UEFA, because actually it's what you see now. But if we go deeply, and I will not waste time here, but what Raquel said, she's completely right with that. And I will just give the example of Brazil, which is one of the best countries that I can look up. Sorry, sorry, in South America. Sorry, Paola, to say that in this case. But Brazil is the country, if you look up to the cultural and social barriers that exists there, plus the size of the country, because it's huge. You need to look up to that. If you look to the national competition, they are talking now about sponsors. They are talking about the structured league. They are talking about more clubs. There are some of them are professionals, some of them not, but they are with a structure. And what she said about the common ball, putting a rule about to having a women's team, you can only play at the in this case South American competitions if you have a women's team, a professional women's team, plus the youth levels, at least one youth level, which is very important. They were the first ones to settle this rule. Now we are talking about this in UEFA, but they were the first ones to settle this rule, which for me says a lot, as we are talking about the South American continent, which usually perception we are telling that they are not the ones.
Very machistas, no?
Yeah, exactly. So if we look up deeply and further, actually the first steps are being done there. And again, maybe we don't talk a lot about Brazil as we talk about England, because Brazil is huge and other things are coming up first than actually this. But if you look up these little steps that are being done, they are doing it in a good and right pathway. And I think we will hear more about samba on the pitch over there in the women's side.
So this linked to another question we had on our social media. Do you think that the future of women's football will be as big as a men's game?
I honestly don't think so. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Super
I think it's so many years ahead.
Unanimous.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the same thing that I really wanted to jump. Like, we have to understand that maybe 30 years that really women football is pushing, and I think don't confuse my message, but we have to work a lot of time more. Like, boys have a lot of years in this industry, and we cannot compare women football and boys football just because they are different business, right? So I think that it's the mistake that we were doing like 10 years ago. Like, we really wanted the same business, right? Equality, yes, we need equality. We need things to work, right? But yeah, conditions. Thank you. We need conditions to work. We deserve to work with with a good pitch, with a love, with broadcasting and all that stuff. But we are starting, and we need to invite more people to watch us. So yes, we are going to that path, but not in 5 years or 10 years. It's going to be a long process.
The problem too is culture, right? Because at the same time, you also need to change culture. So I was talking about South America. It's not that we're against it. It's just that you're so passionate about males football that you just introduce women's football. It's like, it's impossible. I'm a woman in the industry. I love men's football. And if you tell, okay, there's the Palmeiras main team, it's my team, then there's the women's, like, obviously you have, okay, like, I want Palmeiras women to win, but at the same time, I didn't grow up loving the women's team. It's just, it wasn't in me. It's not something that you would see every day. And again, like, it's the same sport, but completely different markets, completely different. You're pitching to different people. So you can't change the mind of a 60-year-old man who's been, watching football his whole life to be like, yo, watch women's football. It's better than men's football. He's gonna be like, what? Like, no. So it's like, you're not gonna pitch, you're not gonna try and sell something to a man like that. It's just like, it's different. Things are different markets, different people. The target is different, and the way that things are run to is different. So it's very hard, and there are just years and years.
Can I jump over there? Like, a different market, but also the thing that I really know that it's gonna be better, and equality and all this stuff is like more women can be involved in the business of football. And I think in different markets, and it doesn't means that in women's football boys cannot work over there, right? At the end, it's the person who have experience, the opportunities, and all this stuff is the person who is gonna have the position. So if we can take that, okay, maybe not is gonna be as professional or as the same business, but we can say, like, I think we are in a new era that more women can be involved in.
I was talking more about the sport, women.
Yes.
People watching women's football. Yeah. I was going more to that side versus women being on top. Like, for now, Palmeiras has a woman. She's president. She's president. Leila. So she's president of Palmeiras, and she's also the owner of the main sponsor of Palmeiras. So, and especially in Brazil, that broke
definitely
a lot of stuff. So it's not, definitely that's been it's been getting way better.
It's definitely a different market. Sorry, Cátia. It's definitely a different market, but the perception is the main thing that needs to be kind of tackled overall. As it should be the men bringing awareness to the women's game, and then only are people going to actually accept it, that it is here to stay, and it's only going to get better. It probably will not be on the same level in our lifetime, but it could, you never know, get to the same level someday. That hopefully it will get there on its own merit, and people want to do it, and people will obsess over it the way we have obsessed over the men's game for our years of youth. But it definitely is progressing. I mean, the Norwegian Federation just they've got their first woman president. I think that's the first president in any of that's the first female president anywhere. And I'm not surprised at all that it's in Norway, because the Scandinavian countries are notoriously amazing with their laws and equality and female women's rights. So it's very kind of fitting that it happens there first, and it's only going to lead and pave the way for it to keep on happening, and for everybody to just get on board, because it definitely is here to stay. I mean, even the numbers, the viewing figures, the crowds that turn up to the games now, that's all sending those signals that it's definitely here. Like, everybody's paying attention. The broadcasters, sponsors, they're now all getting on board and giving a lot of money to actually be involved. So it's just about continuing to kind of give awareness and a voice to that, and everybody else to do their bit. And it it will stay. It may not be on the crazy phenomenal levels that, the Premier League has shown. The women won't get paid half as much as that, but they will show that they have worth and that they do deserve to, be paid a lot more than they get paid now. That's what I think.
Yeah, just adding to that, to everything what you said, for me, is actually this, as I said before, same game, different product. So I will not compare. I like chocolate, but I like one brand and the other not. So I will buy one and the other not. And that's okay. That's okay for everybody. It's just the fact of the people that owning the product to make them good and better to sell them to these persons. It's just that, as any other industry. And women's football, for me, I think we have a huge opportunity to build a great, sustainable product, not commit the mistakes, not comparing with the men, but not commit the mistakes the men committed, because it is a game of 100 years in women's as well. But we need to understand women's football was banned. I will say only 2 countries we've talked about, Brazil and England, for example, and other countries. In Portugal started in 70 something. So it is very recently. The leagues, NWSL is celebrating the 10th year. I mean, it's 10 years is nothing for a game that is starting. The majority of the leagues are not professional. We're talking about still something that is amateur. So we need to build a product. We have the opportunity to build it. And I'm saying that because you look at clubs that probably they have a women's team, but they don't have departments for this team. And if you don't have a department, you'll not build a product. And that's why we need to work on. So I would not like to talk about comparing this way, because if we don't have the base, we cannot, if we don't have the bottom, we cannot build the top. We need to build the bottom, to start from the bottom, building a pathway for in 10 years. If we catch the train now, I hope so, that in 10 years we can actually talking about a good football where I can sell a ticket. And to fulfill a stadium, we need a lot of time, lot of time to sell match. Now we will see Women's Champions League, Barcelona against Real Madrid, a Camp Nou, it's sold out. But actually, the same match happened for a semi-final of the Copa de la Reina, which is the Kings or the Queen's Cup, and it was not sold out in a smaller stadium. It's the same game. It's the same match. Why did it not sold out? Because probably the department, the marketing department didn't work on this game. So we need to activate all the things and look at this as a product. And I think this is what it's needed now for us in 10 years, not tomorrow, in 10 years to talk it as a product. Of course, in the Euros, I can talk it as a product at UEFA level, or next year at the FIFA level, because we are talking about major organizations that are professional and they have the structures and etc. I can't look up to my club, unfortunately, and say they are professional in a way. But if I want to go a match, I don't have access. I cannot buy a shirt. So everything that is around the market, I'm not able to access it. So we need to work around everything to actually call it a product, and in a lot of years to compare it. I think.
Cátia, and I'm agree with you. I text Cátia when I was in Portugal, and it's like, where I can see women football, and she was like, well, I don't know really good the schedule, but maybe you can follow this. And then I try it. So if I really wanted to go to see Benfica game, I have to take so many transport, and it was like very far, and it was like in the worst schedule. It was like at 12 p.m. or 2 p.m. and I was like in a Thursday, and I was like, how I can support Benfica girls if I have to study? So no broadcasting, and I was like, how can I do that? So 100%.
That was a passionate exchange over there. Thank you very much for sharing. We are sadly coming to an end. But right before our closing words and stuff, this is something I would really like to know. And I'm sure I'm gonna have powerful words in return. Is there any woman in the business, in the professional world, even on a personal level, that you look up to? Is any woman out there that has served you as an inspiration somehow, and you would like to name or to dedicate this webinar to? We can start perhaps with Gina.
Let me think. To be fair, I think for now, like the last few months or the last year, I talked to a lot of women in the field or in the industry. And for me personally, every single girl or woman I talked to really inspired me and really helped me a lot. So even like today, just talking to you girls really helped a lot. And so, yeah, in general, just any woman in the industry already helped me a lot. And I probably would dedicate it to every woman in the industry, I guess.
Thank you. Zarah?
Here we go. Yeah, there's a couple that I'd actually like to mention and linked with the FBA journey. So there's Ebru Koksal, who was our leadership lecturer, and I got to have some one-on-one time with her, and she was super inspirational. First of all, what she told us during the course, and then how she conducted the course with us, just was super inspiring in terms of, you know, us being leaders and being the ones to do that ourselves. But, you know, following her history, that she was a CEO of Galatasaray, not a small feat at all. And that's for me on a personal level, because that's the kind of feat that I want to achieve, to be a CEO of a club. And yeah, she's just always kind of been there. She's the one who invited me to the Women in Football. So she has like a small hand in me getting my job now, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. And yeah, anytime I need her, she's there. And then I have another friend of mine, Preeti Shetty, who is on the board of the non-executive committee for Brentford, who are a Premier League club. And she's also the CEO of Upshot in the UK. And just her story is pretty similar to mine. She's from a diverse background, grew up in Dubai, Indian lady, and she's now in the UK working in football. She just kind of fell into it. It wasn't through a love, but I mean, I'm just very in awe of what she's achieved, and you know, the way that she went about it. So I'm very lucky and thankful and blessed to have her in my life as well, to kind of keep me going and be my mentor. So the two of them are very special to me.
Thank you, Zarah. Raquel, maybe?
Well, mine just wouldn't be anything of woman in the industry, but it would just a bit cliche, but it would just be my mom. She just taught me just how to be, just to focus on me and go for whatever I wanted to be and to do. She was the one who motivated me and who helped me to go to America in the first place and get my degree over there. And she was also the one who encouraged me to do the FBA and say, look, let's do it. I'll help you. I'll support you. And she just always, she closes her eyes and she works until she drops, basically. She loves working, and she just doesn't care. If someone says, oh, I can't, you know, you probably won't be able to do this. She's like, yeah, watch me. So she has nothing to do with football. She does not even watch football, but it's just the work ethics and just her passion, and just, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You need to have that. Obviously, unfortunately, we still do depend on, you know, the culture or like the people around us. But at the end of the day, it's about you and what you do with the opportunities that you get. And if you're not scared, you need to close your eyes and just jump, as we've been saying. So yeah, it'd be her.
Thank you. Cátia?
Well, I will not mention a name, but I will say, and this case is not the cliche, but actually it's what made me what I am today, and to still believe that I could work in football again, because in the middle of a pandemic it was difficult to start doing a job, finding a job, etc., etc. To all the women that I interviewed at Two Goals podcast, because actually at the end of each interview, and actually at the end of some, I was stand up and applauding them, because it was a lesson in every episode, and some of them, they were younger than myself. And I was like, whoa, I have a lot to do and a lot to learn. And this person is just showing me the way. So I will dedicate to them and thank them for everything that I am today, because of them as well.
Go ahead, Pao.
Okay. Well, I have a lot of women around me that inspire me. As Gina says, like all the girls or all the women who are working right now in football inspire me. I can say a lot of names, but I wanna like be specific. All the women who are working in the World Cup, like we are a lot, that make me feel proud for my country and for the people who believe in that process, because it's people who are very prepared. And 3 weeks ago, 4 years ago, I met one of the wonderful girls that I never thought it was, Jen Purdon, that she was a professor for governance. She's the director of women football. And as Zarah says, like that professor that she said also was my inspiration. But Jen Purdon, that is the woman that I want to be in my future. Inspire more girls and more people and more confident. So Jen Purdon for me was a pleasure. I never tell people, take me a picture can you take me a picture, right? I never do that. And I think was one of the first persons that I say, like, please, I want a picture with you. And I want to put it in my bed and say, like, I want to be like her. And at the end, and not less important, the first woman's president of Costa Rica for the soccer league, that is Vicky Ross. She inspired me. She is now the CEO for the league for all this soccer in Costa Rica, and it's something that changed the way to see football in Costa Rica. So she not just are doing changes, she also say like women's prepare can change the environment. So and also I want to say something weird, but it's true. I want to dedicate this to me, because I never thought that I will be in this position, talking in English. That is something weird. Be a master of football, working in a World Cup, and having crazy ideas to connect with people around the world. So I never thought that I really can do it. And now I'm here saying, you're doing good. So that are my women that I really inspire.
Strong answers. Thank you for sharing. This is also about them. So from my side, it was super special to have you. I really, really enjoyed this reunion, and I honestly feel inspired by you. So thank you. It completely succeeded my expectations that were already super high. So thank you for being here, for being so, opening up and sharing all your personal journey, and definitely contributing positively and encouraging other girls to do so. So it was a huge honor for me to have you. My eyes go like to all the faces over there. We should totally organize an on-person gathering, because I know that we can extend like for 1 hour more to speaking. So I believe it's super necessary. And to you on the other side, supporting us with your presence, thank you for tuning in and for your time. Of course, hope you enjoyed as much as I believe we all did here. If you think this webinar could be of any interest to someone that wasn't able to connect today, don't worry, this is being recorded and it's also gonna be available on our YouTube page, that is the FBA. And also, if you have other questions regarding the Master in Football Business, our initiatives toward women in football, or if you have any other things you would like to discuss, you can reach out to our incredible admissions team or to myself. So yeah, I don't know if you have any closing final words you would like to share.
Happy Women's Day.
And believe in yourself that all the things that you put in your journey, you can do it if you work and you are around with the correct people.
Go team.
Thank you
Girl
very
power,
much.
let's go.
Thanks for having us, and thanks to the FBA and for getting us all together. It's all been because of the FBA. So whoever's thinking about it, whoever wants to do it and doesn't know, whether they should or not, reach out. We're all available as well, I'm sure. So just take that leap.
Great. So wishing you all a really nice day or afternoon or evening, and hope to see you next time.
Thanks a lot, Lucia. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you all.